Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. It's Friday Eve, one step closer to the weekend. Almost there. We are almost there. How about that? Look at this yarn. Doesn't this look like pretty fall colors? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hey, Victoria, good morning. Jody, good morning. Angie, welcome in. Tammy, thank you so much for the heart me. Victoria, thank you for the heart me. Deanna, good morning. Welcome. Pam, good morning. Tammy is here. Good morning. Trudy, good morning. We're going to make a pumpkin today, guys. So, I made a little pumpkin trio. It's hard to see here because of the angle, but see my cute little pumpkins. Let me take you out of your cradle. I'm gonna move y'all. This is what we're gonna make today. Well, we're gonna make one of the pumpkins, I should say. This is what is on deck. Feels like fall around here. 62 degrees this morning. I'll tell you, there's dew all over the field, the pasture out there. Really feeling the fall vibes. So, what do you say? Y'all want to make a pumpkin? I think it would be fun. I'm gonna put you back in your little house here. See if we can get y'all set back up. So, the yarn that I use for my pumpkin trio, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, Burnt Pumpkin. Yes, Kayla, I am on YouTube this morning. Cindy, good morning. Welcome in. Christy, good morning. Susan says, not here in Texas. Well, girl, it's coming. You might have another month or so. And then I also used, I love this yarn print. This is Autumn Stripe. Autumn Stripe. This pattern I am doing this morning is from Briana K over on YouTube, you guys. Briana K. She is amazing. I have been all about the wheat stitch. I learned it Saturday, mostly so I could make the pumpkins, but I've also been making beanies and everything wheat stitch this week. I'm very excited about it. I get off on these little tangents, you know. I learn a new stitch and then I'm all about it. And then I'll eventually fade out and do something else. Hey, Debbie, good morning. Welcome in. Jody said I started one of her hats. Nice, nice. Denise, good morning. Welcome in. Chris, good morning. How are you, friend? Okay, so we're going to work two colors for this. And this is a 4-row repeat. If we look at our little pumpkin here, this right here is what we call the wheat stitch. The wheat stitch. In between the wheat stitch, which is 2 rows, we're going to do 2 rows of single crochet. One is a regular single crochet, one is done in the back loop, which gives it this little line of texture. So I'm going to make this medium-sized pumpkin this morning. We're going to use these 2 colors. And I'm going to carry my yarn. Now, I saved my pumpkin stem from last year. So even if you're not ready to make pumpkins this year and you get some pumpkins around the house for decoration for the kiddos, for doing the jack-o'-lantern thing, save your pumpkin stem because then next year you can use it right in the top of your pumpkin. It looks natural. So keep that in mind. All right. I saved mine last year. I knew I wasn't going to make my pumpkins last year, but I was ahead of the game. Okay. I'm going to use an I-9 hook this morning. Hey, Kay, good morning. Welcome in. Debbie, good morning. Yes, the autumn colored yarn. Look at that. It's called Autumn Stripe. The other one that works really good for this, I don't have in front of me, but it is, there's another one that's green and red. You guys know which one it is I'm thinking of. I can't think of the name. Oh, help me. It's another I love this yarn. It works really well also. Hey, Amanda Jo, good morning. So we're going to start first with our burnt orange. Now, I'm going to give myself a long tail here. Okay, we want this to be able to weave in. Hang on, I got to move you all up. We can't see. We can't see what I'm doing this morning. Let's try this. Come on, stay phone. Let's see if that's any better. I might have to lift you all up a little bit. So leave yourself a long tail. That way we can use that to close up the pumpkin. Okay. Let's see. Am I on screen here? I gotta get situated here. I lifted up the camera to show you all the pumpkin, and then you know, it got all weird. Okay, we're gonna start with a slip knot on our hook. I still feel like I'm too high on screen. Hang on, guys. Sorry. We gotta get adjusted here. Hey, Gen X. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. I don't know what's going on here. Let's see if that's any better. Am I on screen now? Oh, now I'm on screen. How about that? Hey, Viv. Good morning. Shan. Good morning. JT. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Hey, Miss Mary. Good morning. Carla. Good morning. Um, Don't those yarn are amazing. Now I have to get them. Yes, Yolanda, these two colors look really nice together. They look really nice. The burnt pumpkin and the autumn stripe. There's another one, and I can't think of what the name is. It's really nice also. It feels like fall as well. It doesn't have as much of the dark rust in it. And cinnamon cedar. Thank you, Kayla. Cinnamon cedar. If you have some cinnamon cedar, use that one also because it's really nice. How did my project come out yesterday? Well, I didn't finish my project yesterday, but here's where we ended yesterday. We'll be working on this some more. So, this was the study a snow blanket that we were working on. So, I think it turned out really nice. What do y'all think? It's coming along. I think it's going to be good. Hey, Amanda. Good morning. Leah is here. Good morning, Leah. Oh, you want to know what else I'm working on here? I'll show you. Oops, I dropped it on the floor. Hang on. Let me grab it. Hey, Jennifer. Good morning. Sammy, one second. This is the other thing I've got in the works right now is I'm doing one of those twisty ear warmer things. Oh, I got dirt on it when I dropped it on the floor. Forgive me all. We're going to do the little Pac-Man kiss, the yarn sandwich, as I like to call it on this. And then we're going to make a little ear warmer out of it. Let's see how it looks. I'm almost done with it. I was working on it this morning, but then I wanted to do the pumpkin with you guys. Let's just pop in some stitch markers and we'll pretend. Jules, level 5. Congrats on moving on up. Deborah, good morning. Okay, so then we would turn it inside out. Now, this is not finished, y'all. So, but this is how it's going to look, right? Oh my gosh. With the little wheat stitch, like, isn't it delicious? I love it. Looks so nice and wintry with that, like, it's like evergreen. Evergreen. Oh my gosh. Okay. Squirrel. Sorry. Let me put that to the side. That's another thing I've got going on. Back to our pumpkins. Okay. So for today, let me run down again for those that are just joining. I'm using a size I9 hook and I'm using which is a 5.5 millimeter, and I'm using 4-weight acrylic. I have two colors I'm going to be carrying my yarn. Both are I love this yarn. So we have I love this yarn in burnt pumpkin, and I have I love this yarn, and this one is called Autumn Stripe. So I'm going to put these two yarns together. Okay, that's the plan. What we're going to make is this pumpkin right here. I really don't want to move the camera again, guys, because I have to get all reset up. I made a large size pumpkin. I made a medium sized pumpkin, and then this is a trio. There's a smaller one here on top. I'm going to make this medium sized pumpkin this morning. So see how I've got the autumn stripe in there? And then we've got the burnt orange. Okay, so we're going to use those two colors, and I'm going to carry the yarn through my project so I don't have to tie on. Okay, this is a pattern by Briana K. Briana K. Briana K over on YouTube. She is queen of the wheat stitch, in my opinion. And the pumpkin trio that she has, the video is amazing. Now, you don't have to make all three. Okay, you don't have to do that. Guy next door says, "Pretty, thank you so much." May, good morning. Yes, thank you. We're gonna make this right now. Okay, so I wrote down from her tutorial when I watched it what size to do. So for the large pumpkin, you do a chain of 33. For the medium size, that's what we're going to do today, is 29 chains. And we're going to do 13 wheats, which is 52 rows. So it's a 4-row repeat. All I do is I count the wheat stitches. So, for example, as I'm making this right here is what I call a wheat stitch. So I count 1, 2, 3, and so on. When I get to 13 of those, then I'm going to be done. Small is 25, and it's only 9 wheats, which is 36 rows. 9 times 4, 36, and so on. Okay. So we need a chain of, what did I just say? 29. We're going to chain 29 here. Christy, good morning. Welcome in. Veronica, good morning. Welcome in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. Okay, so there is our chain. Now, when you look at your chain, the chain has two sides. If you look at the front side here, you have your little sideways V. If you turn your chain to the back, you can see we have what is called the back bump here. And it's just a single. I'm going to work single crochets into this back bump the entire way down. Hey, Kiana, good morning. Welcome in. We're making a pumpkin today, guys. I am skipping the first one. This chain that's on my hook does not count. We're going to go in the back bump of the second one from our hook and place our single crochet. Now, friends, if you want to do a foundation chain, I'm sure that would be totally fine. I'm a little old school and I do the traditional chain and then do my single crochets. I know I should be more hip and cool than this, but sometimes I just get stuck in my old ways. So, anyhow, single crochet all the way down our chain. Yes, you can watch this later on YouTube this morning. I'm on both TikTok and over on YouTube. But guys, Brianna K has a fabulous tutorial of this. Okay, so check out her YouTube also, and she's going to do it way better than I can. I'm just here to get you all excited about it. The blanket yesterday, we made it this far yesterday on the blanket. We'll be revisiting this here soon. This is the Study of Snow modified into a rectangle. This is my first time experimenting with doing a rectangle. I love the Study of Snow, but that's where we ended up yesterday. So we'll probably work on this more next week. This morning, I am working on a pumpkin, guys. I'm working on a wheat stitch pumpkin. Pam, good morning. Welcome in. Um, let's see what else. I missed a few other comments here. I'm using an I-9 hook. Amanda said, can you use a foundation stitch instead of chains? You absolutely could. You need 29. Okay, your foundation would be 29 or maybe 28. I don't know how that turns and all that. I do a single crochet with my chain. Okay, I kind of am old school that way. Y'all, if I missed your comment, feel free to ask again. The mods are here this morning. Um, and they'll help answer the questions as well. We're going to do some stitch talking today, so I might miss your comments, but I am very glad that you all are here, and I hope you're having a great day. Let me try to get back on screen here. I'm wandering off to the right. This is called the Wheat Stitch Pumpkin, and it is a pattern by Briana K on YouTube. She does a fabulous tutorial of this. It's a very, very popular pattern. She also has I'm not huge on Facebook anymore, guys, but I will say the Brianna K community over there, there's a group where everybody is posting their pumpkins, their beanies, everything wheat stitch that Brianna does. And it's a pretty good group, actually. It's really nice. Annette, thank you so much for the heart me, becoming the 132nd member of the fan club. Rita, welcome in. Good morning, my friend. And, I've been doing the wheat stitch all week. I'm really just digging it. So we did a starting chain of 29. Okay. Then we are doing a single crochet in the back loop all the way down. And we're to the very last one here. Okay. So that's what we've done. Found a chain and single crochet. Okay. Chain one. Now we're going to turn our work. And what we're going to do now is we're going to work into the back loop of our stitches here. When you look at your crochet stitches, they look like a sideways V. Can you see right here how it looks like a sideways V? This loop that is facing me is called the front loop. The loop that is away from me is called the back loop. And we're going to be working a single crochet in that back loop only. And we're going to work that the entire way down. This loop that is on my hook, just ignore that. This chain we just did does not count. Okay. So we're going to work into this very first stitch in the back loop and put our single crochet. When you work in the back loop, what happens is it leaves behind this really cool line of texture from that front loop that you're leaving behind. So see how it's forming right there? Really, really nice. It's crochet, as I mentioned, it's all just an illusion. Hey, Sparky, welcome in. Good morning. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. Almost the weekend, Friday Eve. How about that? Kelly started her pumpkins yesterday. So excited. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Love that for you. Um, I made the trio because I'm going to put that in the county fair. But I am loving this pattern so much. I thought what I would do is maybe do another single pumpkin or a smaller double stack where I do the medium and the small. Brianna K has three sizes you can make, the small, medium, and large. And I secured my triple stack together with the yarn. I kind of tied it all together and hid it in there. Um, but a lot of people leave their pumpkins as singles and then they'll just stack them up. Hey, Eartha, good morning. Welcome in. We have for the county fair. I thought it was important that they were all secured as one unit. Otherwise, they might think that I was trying to um, enter multiple things. So I secured them all together. When I get to the very last stitch here, I go under both loops. Now you could just go under the back loop as you've been doing. I prefer it under both loops. I just feel like it gives it a little more stability at the edge. So single crochet, chain one, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, so here's where we're at now. Now we're ready to start row 3 of the repeat. And what we're going to do is what's called the wheat stitch. Before we start the wheat stitch, we're going to do 4 single crochets as we go along here. What that does is it will give us some room when we close our pumpkin. May sorry I am on YouTube if you want to watch over there, and you'll be able to rewind it and watch there as well. Brianna K does a fabulous YouTube tutorial where you can pause it and rewind, and she goes over all the different sizes and whatnot. So I'm more here this morning to get y'all excited about making a pumpkin or something for fall, you know? Um, so when we do our pumpkins, it's hard to envision right now. But this is the side of our pumpkin, okay? So when we look at this, what I just made right here, I don't know if you can see this on camera. This little strip I made here is this right here. So we're going to close this at the top. We're going to work all these stitches around, and then we're going to close it at the bottom. Okay, so that's kind of how we're going to do that. When we get to these edges here, we want some single crochets rather than the wheat stitch because that'll make it a little flatter where we go to close this off. So chain one. In the first 4 stitches, I'm going to do single crochets. So ignore the chain one, that does not count. Into the first stitch, working into the back loop, single crochet. Here's number 2, number 3, and number 4. Okay. Now we're going to work the wheat stitch. When we do the wheat stitch, we're going to work under both loops. We're going to go under the back loop and the front loop. I'm going to skip a stitch. Into the next stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay. Now, this is the stitch that I missed right here. See this little guy here? We're going to come back and we're going to pick up that stitch with a modified puff stitch. The way we do this is we yarn over. I go under both loops. So I kind of figure out where that stitch is at, go all the way through my work, grab up a loop. We're going to pull this loop up nice and tall so it matches our other stitches. Now we're going to hold that stitch. We're not going to pull through. We're just going to hold that and we're going to repeat with another yarn over. So yarn over, right back down into that same space, grab up a loop, and now we have our starting loop here on the right, 2 and 4, so a total of 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over. We're going to pull this loop under the first 4, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. This pulling through the last 2 is what kind of locks it in. Okay, so if you've made the puff stitch before, you will be able to make this as well. Okay, it's just a little bit modified. We're ready to do our next, so we're going to skip one into the next, again going under both the loops, single crochet. Now we're going to come back. See this one right here? This is the one I skipped. We're going to work that wheat stitch right into that stitch. Yarn over all the way through our work. Grab up that yarn, pull it up nice and tall, holding. We need to do it one more time. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. Here we have our starting loop, 2, 4, a total of 5 loops. Yarn over. We're going to pull this one through the first 4. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. That stitch got a little wonky on me. Let me redo that. I don't like how that looks. See how my stitch got kind of pulled apart there? Sometimes when I go slow, that happens to me. Okay, yarn over. Let's try again. Jen, welcome in. Good morning. Nice to have you here, my friend. Pull through 4 and then pull through 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now, once again, look for that stitch that you skipped, and we're going to work that with our wheat stitch. Yarn over all the way through, pull up your loop, pull it up nice and tall, holding, and then one more. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop, and yarn over, pull through 4, and then yarn over, pull through 2. That pulling through 2 is what locks it in. Skip 1 into the next stitch, single crochet. Again, picking up that stitch that we missed with our wheat stitch, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop. One more time, yarn over, right down in, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 4, and yarn over, pull through 2. So here's what we're looking like now. See how that wheat is starting to take shape? The wheat is formed with 2 different rows. So we're doing the first half of this. As we come back around, we're going to add the second half of this. Wheeler, you're like the Bob Ross of crochet. Oh, Jennifer, that's a nice compliment. Thank you so much. Thank you. And friends, nobody mentioned to me here, but do you remember at the beginning when I said I wanted to work 2 colors? Wheeler's over here using all orange. And you know what that means? I have to frog this all out right here because our wheat stitch we wanted to do with the autumn stripe yarn. What am I thinking over here? All right, get your frogs. We're frogging. We can't let this slide. We got to pull this out. We're going to redo this. We're going to add in our second color here. I got so excited. Grounded. I know, Leah, right? Rip-row. All right. Nothing like a little frogging in the morning. Okay, so let's get our second color here. And I'm going to pull this through. Now, if you wanted to tie on, you totally could. I leave myself, again, a fairly long tail on this. That way I can use it for weaving in my yarn. In addition to pulling through this new color, I'm also going to pull through the orange color. I'm going to carry this yarn throughout the project. Okay, so now we have both of our colors here. And now I'm going to, which one's the tail here? Here we go. I'm going to chain 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a stitch marker into the orange color, the burnt pumpkin. And I'm not going to work with this orange. We're just going to leave him chilling over here on the side of our work. We're going to start working with the autumn stripe yarn. Okay. So we're just going to leave this attached. I'm not going to snip it off or anything. Then we're going to turn our work. Okay. So here we go. Let's try this again. Hey, Debbie, good morning. Once again, this chain that I made does not count as a stitch. Into the first stitch, we're going to go in the back loop and do our single crochet. We're going to do a total of 4 of these. That was just a little warm-up session I did, right? Okay, there is our 4 stitches. Now we're ready to start the wheat stitch. So skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed. See it chilling right here? So we're going to yarn over. We're going to make a modified puff stitch. Go down under that stitch all the way through and pull up our loop. And we're going to pull this up nice and tall. This yarn is going to change colors. So it'll get a little easier to see as we go along. Now we're going to hold this right here. We're going to yarn over and we're going to go back down in and do another yarn over. I got a little knot in my yarn here. Not a knot. Come on now. Hang on. Let's get this. I've been using this yarn and I know this is where you tell me, all of you tell me simultaneously, April, you should cake your yarn. It's for this reason right here. Okay, we're going to pull that up. Now we have our starting loop here on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, total of 5 loops. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this through the first 4. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. That pulling through the last 2 is what locks it in. Okay, we're going to skip 1 into the next. Again, single crochet. And now we're going to come back and pick up that stitch that we missed there. See them there? Right there, we're going to go right in that space. You can kind of pull your work apart if you need to be able to see that. Yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop. Again, pull it up nice and tall and yarn over right back down in and pull up another loop. So now once again, we have 5. Here's our little starting loop we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, total of 5. Yarn over, we're going to pull this one under the first 4 stitches. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. And here we go. We're going to repeat that modified puff stitch. Once you get started with this, guys, this stitch that you're skipping and where to work your yarn is going to be very, very easy to identify. Okay. Yarn over right into that space under that stitch, grab up my loop. Holding this, yarn over one more time, right back down in, grab up your loop. Now we have a total of 5 loops. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and yarn over and pull through 2. Now our wheat stitch is looking pretty groovy, isn't it? Looking pretty groovy. The yarn that I'm using this morning is both, I love this yarn. The orange is in the colorway Burnt Pumpkin, and this brown color I'm using is going to be changing colors. I'm using the colorway Autumn Stripe. Nina, I am making a pumpkin this morning. We're in fall pumpkin mode. Okay, so here we go. We're going to skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now, once again, we're going to come back and pick up that stitch we missed. See it chilling right there? Yarn over, right down through, grab up our loop, pull it up nice and tall, holding, yarn over, right back down in. We've got to do that twice. Now we have a total of 5 loops. Here's our starting loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull this one through the first 4 stitches, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. There's our stitch we need to work back into, the one we skipped, again with the wheat stitch. Yarn over, right down in, grab up a loop. Hey Pam, good morning, welcome in. Nice to see you, stranger. And here we go with our second yarn over. Pull that up nice and tall. Boy, I've got a big yarn mess here in my lap. Pull through 4, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip 1 in the next, single crochet. Now pick up that one that we missed here with our modified puff, yarn over, right down in, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall, holding, and yarn over, right back down in for our number 2. Again, now we have a total of 5 loops here. We're going to yarn over, pull this one through the first 4, and yarn over and pull through 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Here's how we're looking. We're going to finish the second side of this wheat stitch once I turn my work, okay? So that's going to be coming here soon. Pick up the one that I missed here with our modified puff, yarn over, all the way through, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall. Oh, we're going to change colors here. yarn over, right back down in for our number 2, and yarn over, pull through 4, and yarn over, pull through 2. Patricia, I'm making a wheat stitch pumpkin this morning, a wheat stitch pumpkin. Let me try to get some of this yarn. There we go. Okay, skip 1 into the next, single crochet, and now let's do that wheat stitch. Four Seasons, good morning. It is beautiful fall colors. Are y'all ready for fall? Are you ready for summer to be over? I know I am. Oh, user 2, thank you so much. I can't get all fired up in the morning. I do get a little fiery sometimes, but I try to keep it kind of calm in the morning. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. If you are new here to my channel, my name is April, and I am a hobby crocheter. I come on in the mornings every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time. I do work full time and I stay on until about 9:30, and then I hop off and go into my office. I do work remote, and so it allows me to kind of crochet with my friends and hang out and have coffee and talk about the different things that I'm working on. And we have a fabulous little community here. Okay, so that concludes our first part of the wheat stitches. When you get to these last 4 stitches here as you're approaching the end, we're going to actually work a single crochet in the back loop of these 4 stitches. So when you look at a crochet stitch, it looks like a sideways V. Do you see how this little shape is here? This loop that is away from me, this is called the back loop. This facing me is called the front loop. We're going to work in this back loop only and leave the front loop behind. So here we go into the back loop, single crochet. I most certainly will, Tabby. We're going to turn this and we're going to be doing lots more wheat stitches today. So here we go. Here's number 3. And when I get to the very last one here, I actually like to work under both loops. So I go under both. You could definitely work under the back loop also. I just feel like it gives a little more stability. Single crochet. Okay, we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to turn our work and we're going to work back the other direction. So once again, as we work these next 4 stitches, before we get to our wheat stitch, once again, we're going to work in the back loop. So this one that is away from you, this chain that I made does not count. We're going to go into the first here with a single crochet, into the second, under that back loop, single crochet, and into the third, single crochet. And here is number 4. All of those are worked in the back loop. When you work in the back loop with your projects, what happens is it gives it this little line of texture. So that is creating the ribbing on our pumpkin. You can kind of see it here. See how this one is showing through? As we do more and more, you'll start to see more of this ribbing effect. And sorry, it's kind of hard to see, but this is what we just made right here. See this orange stripe? That is the first part that we did. Then we just did this half the wheat stitch. Now we're going to do the other half. And we're going to continue working that pattern all the way around until we get a total of 13 of these wheat stitch sections, 13 of these. Okay. So that's kind of what we're doing. Okay, so we have our first 4. Now we're going to work the exact same as we did of the row below. So this is our first stitch. We're going to skip that one into the second stitch. We're going to do a single crochet. Now what we need to do is we need to come back and pick up this stitch here that we missed. See that one there we skipped? You can kind of pull your work apart sometimes if you're having a hard time identifying it. And I'm going to work right in that space right there. I yarn over. We're going to make a modified puff stitch. Put my hook all the way through, grab up the yarn, and we're going to pull this up nice and tall. Okay, we want this to be kind of the same height as our other stitches. This is made with multiples of 2. So the wheat stitch, every time you do one of these little wheats, it takes 2 chains. So you could do, like, I'm going to make a scarf later, and I might do, I'm going to measure, but I'll do that in increments of 2. So I'll do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 till I get it as long as I want. And then I'm going to chain 1 for my turning chain. So add 1. So increments of 2 plus 1. Okay. Now we're going to hold this here and we need to do another part of our puff stitch. So we're going to wrap our yarn around, go right back down into that same space. Now, when you do this, it kind of puffs up here a little bit. That's okay. Don't be concerned with that. Once you pull this back up, you're going to pull it up tall again, and then it'll kind of iron itself back out. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. This was our starting loop. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to yarn over. We're going to pull this loop underneath the first 4. Now we're back to 2 loops. We're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. When you do that, that locks in your wheat stitch. Now, once again, we're going to skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now we've got to pick up that stitch we missed. So pull your work apart if you need to. See it chilling right there? Yarn over, go right underneath all the way through, grab up your loop, pull it up nice and tall. And we need to do 1 more. Yarn over, right back down into that space. Again, pull up nice and tall. So here we are back to 5. This was our starting loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull this loop underneath the first 4. Now we're back to 2 and yarn over, pull through both of those. Okay, so this is how we're looking now. Can you see the little wheats forming? So you have your 2 sides. Okay, skip 1 into the next. Single crochet. Dog Mama, good morning. Welcome in. Chalita, nice to have you here. Lena, welcome in. Good morning. How to start as a beginner. My recommendation, Lena, is to go over to YouTube, and there are a lot of creators that I recommend over there. Bella Coca is great. I really like Mikey at the Crochet Crowd, and there's a number of folks there that do beginning tutorials. It takes lots of practice. So I know some people say I make it look easy. I've been crocheting for 41 years. With that being said, I learn new things every single day. So everybody's on a different place in their crochet journey. And one thing I would say, try not to compare yourself to others. Everybody learns at a different speed, and uh, you'll be at your own journey. Thank you, Gen X. Gen X has mentioned these are fabulous people on YouTube for beginner tutorials. Bella Coca, Crochet Crowd, hooked on Robin. Mikey is wonderful. He's one of my favorites for sure. Look at how that green is starting to come in now, friends. So this morning we are making a fall pumpkin. And this is with the wheat stitch. This pattern is by Briana K over on YouTube. She is the wheat stitch queen. I will tell you, I've been making beanies. I don't have any of the beanies next to me, but I did make it. Working on an ear warmer. We kind of mocked it up this morning. This again is the wheat stitch, different yarn, but you can see those little wheats there. Same pattern, just a different application. This is going to be an ear warmer. Here's what the back looks like. It's not finished yet. But we've been making beanies. There's beanies on my page. The fall pumpkins, of course, are all a rage right now. And she is fabulous. Stitch, thank you so much for the party poppers. So she's a great teacher for this stitch if you want to learn how to make this. Jen says, so pretty. I love that green. Isn't it nice? That's Lion Brand um, Scarfy yarn. I really like the Scarfy yarn. I don't know if they still have that color green. I've had that in my stash for a while. So let's talk these stitches through as we get towards the end here. We've got 3 more until we reach the end. So once again, we're going to skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Here is the stitch that we missed. We're going to pick this one up with our modified puff stitch. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up that loop, pull this up nice and tall. You want it as tall as your other stitches. Yarn over, again, right back down in. Number 2, pull this up nice and tall. This is our starting loop here on the right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 additional, total of 5. Yarn over, we're going to pull this through the first 4 stitches. Now we're back to 2 and yarn over, pull through those last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. There's our stitch that we skipped. See them right there? Yarn over, right down all the way through. Grab that loop up, pull it up nice and tall. We're going to hold this right here. We're going to repeat that one more time. Yarn over into that same exact space, pull up another loop. Now we have a total of 5. Once again, yarn over, pull this loop under the first 4, down to 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. One more little wheat stitch to go. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Here's that one we skipped, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop, holding, and yarn over one more time, right back down in. Oops, do you see I put it in the wrong spot? See how I got that little yarn there? Let's pull that back out. My bad. Yarn over, try again, and pull up that loop. So now we have 5. This is our starting loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see them there. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we're back to the edge of our pumpkin here, and we have 4 single crochets along the edge. Once again, we're going to work into the back loop here as we are working these stitches. So again, the crochet stitches look like a sideways V. This one that is away from me is the back loop. The one that is facing me is the front loop. We're going to work under the back loop only. What this does is it leaves a really nice, cool line of texture as we're working this stitch. It leaves behind that front loop and it just looks really nice. It just adds a little level of extra there. Now, once I get to the very last stitch here, I really like to go under both loops instead of just the back loop. For me, it just makes it a little more secure. So single crochet. Okay. And you can see how that line of texture is. Now, one thing I am doing is I am carrying the yarn. So what that means when you carry the yarn, I don't know if people are familiar with this term, but I am working both the orange yarn. This orange yarn is, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby in the color Burnt Pumpkin. Also for this pattern, I am using, I love this yarn. And this is the autumn stripe. Okay, so it's changing colors on its own. So I am working both of these colors together. When we carry the yarn, what that means is I'm not going to snip off the yarn and have a bunch of tails to weave in. So when we finish the orange color here, see that orange? I put a stitch marker in it and I am leaving this to be used for the next time I need the orange. And when we have finished our wheat stitch, which is these 2 stitches here, see that how that looks like the wheat? Now we're ready to change back to the orange. So what I do when I get to this very last stitch here, I go under both loops like I'm going to do my single crochet. Now before I yarn over and pull this through, what I do is I sneak this orange stitch back on my hook and I pull this up nice and tight, okay? So now I have all 3 of these, and then I yarn over and I'm going to pull both of these through for that edge. And then I do my chain 1. Okay, so right now I'm working with both of the yarns. Now I'm going to drop the variegated color. See this green here? I'm going to drop that and I just want to work with the orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my stitch marker into that green yarn to hold him secure there. Okay, you can kind of tighten that up. And then I'm going to pick up my orange tail. And now we're going to resume with our orange color. So I'm going to turn my work. And now we're going to work our single crochets into these 4 stitches with our orange yarn only. So once again, this chain that I made does not count. Working in the back loop, single crochet. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, do you remember at the very beginning how we were doing our single crochet rows? We're going to do that same thing for these wheat stitches. So what we're doing is we're putting, if you can see it here, try to scoot back a little bit. See how we're doing these orange bars in between these wheats? That's what we're going to do now. We're going to make this little orange section once again, okay? And that is done with 2 rows of single crochet. So the first 4 stitches I work in the back loop. Once I get to these wheat stitches, each one has 2 stitches. Instead of working in the back loop, I'm going to work under both loops with my single crochet. And I'm going to work that all the way down. So go under both loops, single crochet. Again, both loops, single crochet, and we're going to work that all the way down. Right now, we are looking at the back of our pumpkin, or what will be inside the pumpkin. This side right here is the right side of my work. See how there's that line of texture? See how this is flat in here? That's what we're mimicking. That's what we're trying to mirror. So we're making this flat through here. Now, our next stitch, when we come back through and turn our work, that's when we're going to do our row of texture. Thank you so much, Mac. I appreciate that. Priscilla, good morning. Welcome in. Friends, we're doing a lot of stitch talk today. If I miss your comment, please feel free to ask again. The mods are here to help. And we've got a lot of people in the room this morning. So I appreciate all your patience. I'm trying to answer the questions as I'm also crocheting. But this morning we are making the wheat stitch pumpkin, the wheat stitch pumpkin. This is a pattern by Briana K, and you can find her over on YouTube. So here we are, the last stitch. Okay, all we did was a row of single crochets all the way down. Now I just messed up because, as I mentioned before, these last 4 stitches, I like to do it in the back loop. See how this has that really nice line of texture? I want that to also be there. So let me rewind these 4 stitches. Rewind. Rewind that. And now we'll work in the back loop for these last 4. If you forget, it's not a big deal. It really is not a big deal. Yes, Brianna K. She is fabulous. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. So now we're back to the right side of the work. And what we want to do is we want to do this line of texture once again on the other side of our wheat stitch. So the way that we accomplish that is we work in the back loop all the way down. Okay, so as once again, as you look at your crochet stitches, it looks like a sideways V. This stitch that is facing me is the front loop. This stitch that is away from me is the back loop. So I'm going to work my single crochet under that back loop. When we leave behind that front loop, that is what is creating that line of texture. It looks complicated, but really it's just a little crochet illusion. So this chain that I made does not count as a stitch. Hey, Leah, good morning. Welcome in. Hannah, good morning. In the back loop, single crochet. And we're going to do that in every stitch all the way down. Now, once we get to the end of this row, we're going to switch back to our variegated yarn and continue on with another row of the wheat stitch. See how that line of texture is popping through? See it there? Isn't that nice? Looks so pretty. The yarn that I'm using this morning, friends, is I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. And it is the colorway Autumn Stripe for the wheat stitch. So the stuff in the middle right here is the autumn stripe. It has some rusty colors in there and greens and reds. It just looks like fall to me. Sheila, thank you so much. I am not a crochet teacher by profession, guys. I am just a hobby crocheter. If you are new to my channel, my name is April, and I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time, and I stay on till about 9:30, at which time I hop off and feed the dogs and fill the bird feeders, and then I go to work. So I just like to come and hang out with my crochet friends and have my coffee and talk about some of the patterns that we're doing and stuff. Leah, good morning. Welcome in, friend. Nice to have you here. Tammy, good morning. Hope everybody's having a fabulous Thursday. So, once again, in between your wheat stitches, you're going to be doing these rows of single crochet. And this one where I'm working right now, again, is in the back loop only. So now here we are to the very last stitch. Now you can see here, this is where I was carrying my yarn. See the green that we tied off here with our stitch marker? So once again, I want to switch to this next color. I'm going to go under both loops and pull up a loop. Now before I finish this single crochet, we're going to do a little magic act here. Pop out your stitch marker, slide your green loop there back onto your hook. Get both your strands together here, yarn over. We're going to pull through all 3 of these. So now we have both on our hook. Yarn over and again pull through. We're going to make a chain. And now we need to switch our work. We're going to be working with the variegated yarn again. So I'm going to keep the green on my hook there. And I'm going to take the pumpkin color yarn here and I'm going to pop my stitch marker into him. And now we're going to let the pumpkin colored yarn chill right here as we work with the variegated yarn again. So you're going to get this little twisted action here on the edge of your pumpkin. However, keep in mind as you're doing this, we're going to be sewing this closed just like you would do a beanie. So you can see here at the top of this pumpkin, I have the stem, but it's going to get closed up like this. So you're really not going to see any of those stitches as you are working this. Also, if you are doing a pumpkin trio like I did, sorry, it's hard to see here. It's kind of tall versus my screen here. I don't want to move my camera. It takes a lot to get it all set back up. You can hide that in between your pumpkin layers, okay, if you want to do variegated. You can also do just a solid color orange if you want. This is the pumpkin color as well. So, however you want to do that, it looks great if you do a variegated and some solids. Some people do them in really pretty colors. Like I've seen some that are like blues and pinks. So, you don't have to be a traditional pumpkin either, okay? So, I'm going to drop all my orange yarn at this point and we've got our stitch marker. It'll hold that chill in there for us. And we're going to turn our work now. So we're going to be working back the other direction. And once again, we're going to be doing our little wheat stitches. Now, before we start our wheat stitches, we have 4 rows of single crochets. And what that does is it makes a little flatter when you're doing your pumpkin closure. So see how this pumpkin comes together with our 4 single crochets here, and then our wheat stitch is more out here at the edge. That helps to keep that flat. That is why we're doing these single crochets. The colors of the top pumpkin, the red color right here in rust is the autumn stripe, and the green color is dark olive that I used. It's also, I love this yarn. So dark olive with the autumn stripe. Um, I didn't have any of the sage. I think they have a sage color for I love this yarn as well. And I think the sage would have looked nice. I just didn't have any on hand. So I went with the dark olive and I think it looks fine. But I did order some of the sage color. This is what I'm making. Right now I'm making a medium-sized pumpkin, which was a chain of 29. The large pumpkin, you would need a 33 chain, and the small is only 25. Now, once again, friends, this pattern is by Briana K. And you can find her tutorial over on YouTube. Okay. It's a great tutorial. Briana K. Briana K. She is queen of the wheat stitch, guys. She does uh, beanies I've been making. She does like a sweater scarf combo that is really, really pretty. So check her out over on YouTube. She is fabulous, but that's whose pattern I'm using this morning. Okay, let me get this all untwisted here. Now, as you're working with your 2 colors, guys, and you're carrying the yarn, your yarn is going to get twisted. Okay, so don't let yourself get frustrated by that. It just is what happens. And you just need to take some time in between if it gets too twisted up to kind of separate before you start your next row and get your yarn kind of good to go. But it will happen where it's twisted up. Okay, this chain of 1 that we did right here does not count as a stitch. Kimberly, I did use the same size hook. I used an I9 for these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in the back loop only. And when you work in the back loop, friends, what happens is it gives it this little line of texture. Okay, so here we go in the back loop. We're going to do single crochet, and there's 4 of these before we get to the wheat stitch. Here's number 3 and number 4. Okay. Now we're ready to start with our wheat stitch. This is what the wheat stitch is. It takes 2 lines of crochet to make your wheat stitch. So you have this side, then you come back and do the second side. So we're going to do the first half all the way down. And the way we do this is essentially a modified puff stitch. We're going to skip 1 and into the next. Do we have a mod that can take care of that comment? I'm sorry, friends. We do not have any control over these things that come to our live. Here, I might be able to do it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for grabbing that, guys. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now what we need to do is we're going to come back and we're going to pick up this stitch that we missed here. And the we're going to work a modified puff stitch into this. Chelsea, I started with a regular chain and then I worked with a single crochet. However, you could do a foundation chain if you wish. For this medium size, I chained a total of 21. Yes, Amanda. It's unfortunate. It happens. It happens to all the wives. Okay, here we go. We're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we need to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed. So if you can't see it, you can kind of pull your work apart. This is the one that I missed right here. Do you see this where my thumb is? We're going to work into that hole that's right there, that little space. Yarn over. I put my hook all the way through and grab up a loop and pull this up nice and tall. You want this to be the height of your other stitches. Now we're going to hold this and we're going to go right back down in with another yarn over. So yarn over into that same space all the way through, grab up another loop. So we're gathering these loops up on our hook. The stitch here on the right was our starting stitch, and then we have a total of 4 more. So now you have 5 loops on your hook. And what you're going to do at this point, you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull this loop underneath the first 4 stitches. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. When you pull through the last 2, that's what locks that puff stitch into place. So I'm going to skip one into the next. I'm going under both loops with my single crochet. By doing this, that is what is causing this stitch to kind of slant sideways because we're putting this one and then we're coming back and picking this next one up. Puzzle piece here, guys. Okay, so here we go. Yarn over. Again, right down into that one that we skipped all the way through. Grab up your loop, pull it up nice and tall, and yarn over, right back down in. Grab up another loop. Now we have 5. Yarn over, you're going to pull this one through the first 4, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Okay, here's that one we missed. See them there chilling? Yarn over right into that space, grab up your loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall, and we're going to hold that. We need to do that one more time. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up that loop. Now we have 5. Yarn over, pull this one underneath all 4. Now we're back to 2 and yarn over, pull through 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Pick up that one we missed, yarn over, see them there? All the way through, grab up that loop, nice and tall, holding, and yarn over, right back down in, grab up that last loop. Okay, now we're back to 5. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Here's how we're looking. Now, once again, this is the back of our work. Once we turn it the other direction, we'll be back to the front of our work. Skip one into the next, single crochet. There's that stitch, yarn over, right down through, and yarn over one more time. Now we're back to 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4, and yarn over, pull through 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. The wheat stitch is done in multiples of 2. For this pumpkin that I'm making, I'm doing a medium size. I chained a total of 29. So that is 28 plus 1 for a turning chain. But if you're going to make a scarf or something like that, you need to work in increments of 2 and then just add 1 for your turning chain. So 2 plus 1. Once again, skip one into the next, single crochet. Mimi, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I am not a crochet teacher. I have a full time job that I work. I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. And I'm live this morning both on TikTok and on YouTube. And so you can go back and rewatch these if you miss them or you have to go to work or get the kids off to school, whatever the case may be. But my handle on YouTube is Wheeler 8 Acre, same as my TikTok. So yeah, I've been crocheting for 41 years. I do not consider myself to be an expert. I literally just learned this stitch Saturday. I've been making it all week. I'm very excited about it. So I am here showing it and hopefully getting you guys excited about maybe making a pumpkin or a beanie or something and maybe trying the wheat stitch. For a long time, I thought that this was going to be a really difficult stitch for me and I kind of was scared of it. And I don't know why I held myself back. A lot of times we plague ourselves with self-doubt and I need to be better about that. I need to have more confidence in myself. So what we do is we skip one and then into the next I'm going under both loops and we're doing a single crochet. Then see this is the stitch that I skipped right here. You see him? We're going to go into that space under those two loops. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to do a modified puff stitch all the way through your work. Grab up your loop, pull this up nice and tall. You want this to be the same height as your other stitches. Now we need to do this one more time. So yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. We have our starting loop here on the right, plus 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to yarn over. We're going to pull through this yarn over through these next 4 stitches. Skip the very last one. We're going to save him. And now we're back to 2 and we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. Now we're down to our last 4 stitches here. See how this is tapering off here at the top? This is going to be the very bottom and top of our pumpkin. So when we look at our pumpkin, we're going to put this together just like you would do a beanie at the top. And this will allow this to close up by keeping this really nice and flat. So as we get to the edge here, once again, I'm going to work in the back loop and we're going to do our single crochet in each one. And when I get to my very last stitch here, I do work under both loops. Some people prefer to do the back loop. I just think it gives it a little more stability. So that very last stitch, I go under both loops, but that gives it this little line of texture when you work under the back loop. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Don't worry, friends, we're going to be doing a lot more of these wheat stitches. So we're going to keep talking these through. Now we're looking at the front of our work. Okay, so see the little ridges for our pumpkin? Isn't that cool? And this was our first row of wheat stitch. You can see we've done half of it. Now we're going to do the other half all the way back up. Okay, so once again, right here out of the gate, this chain that I did does not count for anything. Okay, we're going to do into the next 4 stitches, once again, that single crochet in the back loop. And again, we're just putting a little line of texture there. Here's number 3 and number 4. Okay, now here we are to the wheat stitches. If you turn these to the side, you can see we have just our regular, there's 2 stitches here. Same thing, each wheat, you end up creating these 2 stitches. Same thing as we did on the row before. We're going to skip one into the next, we're going to single crochet. So I'm only skipping 1 stitch, single crochet. Now, if you kind of pull your work apart here, this is the stitch that I missed here. It's kind of hard to see in the red, but it's right here. And what I do is I yarn over and I go into that space. See that space right there? I go into that space all the way through my work and I pull up a loop. And you want to pull this up kind of tall, guys. You want it to be the same height as your other stitches. And then we're going to hold that. We're going to yarn over. We're going to repeat right back down through that exact same space and pull up another loop. So we're like gathering these loops on our hook. We have our starting loop here on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a total of 5 loops now. And what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, we're going to pull this underneath the last 4 stitches here. Then we're back to 2 and we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. By doing the skipping of the stitch, when you complete it, what it does is it forces it to kind of lay to the right. And that's how it's getting that texture and kind of going at an angle. When you do a normal puff stitch, those sit more upright. So that's why I say this is like a modified puff. So once again, we're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we've got to come back and get that one we missed. See it right there? So I'm going to go right into that space, yarn over, put my hook all the way through, grab up a loop, pull this up nice and tall, and yarn over right back down in, grab up that loop. So now we're back to 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this one through the first 4, leaving 2 behind, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet, come back and pick up that stitch we missed, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop nice and tall, holding, yarn over, one more time, back down through. Now we're back to 5, yarn over, pull through the first 4, back to 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Okay, is this making sense how I'm doing this? Yes, Chanel, it absolutely is the Briana K wheat stitch. We're making a pumpkin this morning. Great eye, my friend. Great eye. This is a modified puff stitch that we're doing. Um, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name right. I apologize in advance. Aniv, this is a modified puff stitch that we're doing. So it kind of lays sideways, but this is called the wheat stitch. The wheat stitch. We're following Brianna Kay's pattern this morning for the pumpkin. She has a fabulous tutorial over on YouTube, but you can kind of see how our work is starting to take shape here. So we're using 2 different colorways. I'm carrying the yarn and we're using this orange color here is called burnt pumpkin. And this color here, the variegated that we're using right now, is called autumn stripe. Both are, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. I've been obsessed with this pattern for months. Absolutely, right? Isn't it pretty, Chanel? Erica said, "You are so calming to watch." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cheddar says, I love this pattern. I know, isn't it nice? Could that stitch be used for a lap blanket? It absolutely could. Brianna K has a tutorial of how to make a lap blanket. The other thing I've been making is I've been making beanies, and I am in the middle of an ear warmer here. I just have it pinned together here so you guys can get the effect. But this one I did have in the works, but you can see here, see the wheat stitch also going through. Really pretty. I think I actually have it on the wrong side. This is the right side with that line of texture. But anyhow, this is not done. Is my mom here? Hey, mom. Good morning. How are things in your world this morning? Are you packing up and getting ready to come see me? My mom is going to be here next week, guys. I'm so excited. So we're going to pick up this stitch that we skipped right here. So yarn over. This is a modified puff stitch. Laura, we are working on the um, Wheat Stitch Pumpkin. This is a pattern by Brianna Kay. And you can find her over on YouTube. But I am making a pumpkin this morning. So we're just going over how to make the wheat stitch. Kind of doing a lot of stitch talk, friends. If I miss your comment, the mods will try to help answer the question. I'm doing my very best to keep up with all the comments and do some stitch talk. So thanks for being patient with me and the team. We have a fabulous group. If you are new to my channel, my name is April and I am a hobby crocheter. I have been crocheting for 41 years. With that being said, I learn new things all the time. I am not an expert crocheter. I literally learned this stitch Saturday morning. And so here I am showing it to all you guys because I'm really excited about it. I love the wheat stitch. So anyhow, it's just been a lot of fun and I'm really enjoying it. So here we go. Let's talk about these last 2 wheats as we finish out this row. So once again, we're going to skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up that stitch that we missed. I try to kind of open this up and show you guys where I'm looking at. It's this one right here is the stitch that we skipped. So I'm going to work down below that stitch. I yarn over. I'm going to go all the way through my work and grab up a loop, pull this up nice and tall, and then yarn over right back down in, grab up another loop. Now we have a total of 5 loops on our hook. This is our starting loop, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this one underneath the first 4 loops. We're going to leave 1 behind. So now we're back to 2. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay, last little wheat stitch here. Once again, skip one into the next, single crochet. Pick up that one that we missed there. Right underneath that is where I'm going to go. Yarn over all the way through my work. Pull up that loop. We're going to hold this. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, right back down in. This is a modified puff stitch, guys. Now we're down to back to 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4, and we're going to leave that last one. Now we're down to 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Hey, Tony Ann, good morning. Welcome, friend. Okay, so now we're down to our last 4 stitches here. As we work these last 4 stitches, this is the very flat part of our pumpkin. This is going to be either the bottom or the top of our pumpkin. Um, I go through, this is the stitch right here. See the 2 loops? So I'm going underneath that. I'm going right in here is where I'm going through. So I'm going in the skipped stitch is where I'm working. So I yarn over once and I go all the way through that space and grab up a loop. And then I repeat that one more time. So we do 2 yarn overs and then yarn over, pull through 4 and yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going to work in the back loop as we do these last 4 stitches with a single crochet. When you work in the back loop, what it does is it leaves behind a really nice line of texture. However, when I get to the last stitch here, this green stitch, I like to go under both loops. I feel like it gives it a little more stability at the edge of my project. And before I finish this stitch, I am carrying the yarn. So you can see here, this is where we dropped our orange yarn as we finished this row. We're going to be switching back to the orange yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out my stitch marker and I'm going to sneakily put that orange yarn right onto my hook. And I'm going to pick up both tails in my working yarn here. Okay, so now we have 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull both those strands through. Then I'm going to chain 1. Again, I'm pulling both those colors through. Now what we're going to do, because we finished our wheat stitch, we've got to resume with this orange yarn. This is the burnt pumpkin color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the orange. I'm going to drop the variegated. And I'm going to pop a little stitch marker here in the variegated. And this guy is just going to chill here till we're back ready for him. So we kind of pull this and get that a little tighter. And then I pick up my orange yarn and we're going to start working with that. So what this does is it does put this little braided look along the edge of your work. Now, this is not going to show because when you are finishing your pumpkin, our pumpkin is going up like this. Okay, so this is the side of our pumpkin. You can see here on my bigger orange pumpkin, this goes like this, okay? This is where we're going to close it up, okay? So just like you would close up a beanie, that is how we're going to close this up as well. So this is going to become pretty much hidden in the middle of our pumpkin, or at the base or the top, I should say. Okay, now I'm going to turn my work, and now we're working on the back of our project. So once again, the first 4 stitches, I am going to work a single crochet. Skip this chain that I did does not count as a stitch. So I'm going to go into the first one here in the back loop, single crochet. We're going to do 4 of those stitches. Once again, when you work in the back loop, it gives it this really nice line of texture. Now, as we work over top of these wheat stitches, if you turn your work, they have the 2 loops, and I'm going to start working now under both loops all the way down with a single crochet. And so we're just kind of doing our first row of single crochet. So once again, under both loops, single crochet all the way down. Texas, thank you so much. Yes, this is a really pretty yarn. The yarns that I'm using today, guys, are both, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. I'm using Burnt Pumpkin, and the variegated that I'm using is called Autumn Stripe. And they're both from Hobby Lobby. Now, this week is not the on sale week. So if you want to get to the Hobby Lobby sale, wait till next week. You can go ahead and put it in your cart if you want. But this yarn is beautiful for fall. and it really works nice for these pumpkins. So I've done a variety of these pumpkins. I have to turn it on the side, but you can kind of see here. So I did the solid orange. This is burnt pumpkin. This is the exact one we're doing right now, where you've got the color changing yarn. This is the autumn stripe with the pumpkin color. And then this one here, the spines I did with the autumn stripe, and then this color is dark olive, also from Hobby Lobby. And then I saved my pumpkin stem from last year and I let it dry out. So even if you're not going to make pumpkins this year, if you get pumpkins to decorate with or for the kiddos to carve out for Halloween, save your pumpkin stem and it'll be great if you want to do this for next year, if you're not ready to do it this year. So that's my little tip for you. Howdy from Texas. Madonna, welcome in. Nice to have you here this morning. Texas says this pumpkin is going to be beautiful. Thank you so much. Uh, Sarah said it's so calming. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. I just do my thing, girl. I love using cinnamon sticks for the stems as well. Yes, yes, yes. I save wine corks too. Yes, all those things can be used. And you don't have to use fall colors, guys, for your pumpkins. If you have, a specific decor that you like to do. Anyhow, it's let's see. I'm surprised a certain ornery pupper dog didn't find the stems. I know. I had them on the kitchen counter. I've had them on. I'm surprised Mr. Wheeler at one point didn't be like, he wasn't like, what are these things you've got hanging out of the I literally had them on the on the drying rack. So, okay, our last 4 stitches here, I'm going to resume with our uh back loop only single crochet until I get to that very last one, and then I do it back to the under both loops. I know that's probably like confusing, but I like how it gives it this line of texture. See how it does that? I like how it does that. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're back to the front of our project. So you can see how we're shaping up. Okay. We're going to keep repeating this over and over and over again. What I do is I call this the wheat stitch section. We need to do for the medium pumpkin a total of 13 of these sections. So now we've done 2. I need to do 11 more of these. Hey Kim, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to work back the other direction now. And for this next stitch, all we're going to do is work a single crochet in the back loop only. See how we have this line of texture right here? That is done by working in the back loop only. So that's what we're going to do for this one. Now, once again, that turning chain does not count as a stitch. Working under the back loop, single crochet into every stitch. And you'll see that that line of texture that I was talking about is going to start forming right away as we're doing this. So another one of crochet's little illusions of texture happening. It looks complicated, but really it's not. It just kind of does it on its own with that texture. See it there? And that slick. So, so nice. So single crochets all the way down. Let's speed up. We're going to do some more wheat stitches when we're done with this. And I'm not sure. Let's see, 8:45. I still have a little time to do. How many rows for the large and small, please? Sure thing. So here's my little notes if you want to do a screenshot. The large pumpkin is 33 chains and 17 of the wheat sections. I call this the wheat section here. So 17 of the wheats, which equals a total of 68 rows. The medium, which I'm making this morning, we chained 29, and I'm going to do 13 wheats. And the small is 25, only 9 wheats. So that is the count for these if you wanted to. Sorry, my chicken scratch is not the best. This is a pattern, guys, by um, Briana K at over on YouTube. She's fabulous. So I recommend that you check out her tutorial. But it's Briana K. Hey, Ruby, good morning. Leah said, imagine this stitch. Wait, wait, wait. Where'd you go? Come back. Come back. Imagine this stitch in a cornucopia with different fall-like gourds and flowers. Oh, Leah, that would be so pretty. I can see that, my friend. I can see that completely. That would be really pretty. It would be pretty like in the chocolate color that I like to use. Um, That would be really nice. Okay, we're getting close to the edge here, and we're going to be changing our yarn back to the variegated yarn, okay? So we've got two more stitches here. See my orange stitches? Here's our second to last one. When I get to the last one, I'm going to go under both loops, and I'm going to pull up that loop. Now, I'm not going to finish this. I'm not going to yarn over quite yet. And here's the reason why. I am carrying this yarn. This brown that you can see here, the darker color, this is where we left off of these row below. So instead of snipping off when I get to the end of the row, I'm just leaving it with a stitch marker ready to resume when I'm ready for that next color. That way I don't have a bunch of tails to weave in. I'm not a fan. So what we're going to do a little sneak attack here. We're going to pop out our stitch marker. We're going to put that brown loop right onto our hook. So we're going to sneak it on there and we're going to have three of those. Then I'm going to pick up both of our tails and get them into my working yarn here. I'm going to yarn over with both the colors and then I'm going to pull through. So now once again, we have both of those on our hook. Then I'm going to yarn over once again with both of them and do my chain of one. Now we're going to be dropping the orange color because you can see we're ready to start back up with our wheat stitch. So drop the burnt pumpkin, put a stitch marker in him so that he doesn't get lost in the work, okay? And you can kind of tighten this up a little bit if you'd like. Now we're going to pick up just the variegated, the brown right now, and we're going to turn our work. Does everybody see how I did that? So as we're doing the side here, you can see it's nice and clean rather than having a bunch of tails to weave in every time. So same thing applies. This chain of one does not count as a stitch. We're just going to ignore that. Into the first stitch, we're going to do a single crochet in the back loop only. And we're going to do a total of 4 of those. Here's 2, 3, and 4. Okay. When you work in the back loop again, that's where that texture is coming through. Now we're ready to start our wheat stitch. The wheat stitch really is a modified puff stitch, and it sounds more complicated than it is. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to be working under both loops. So once again, when you look at crochet stitches, it looks like a sideways V. This stitch that is closest to me, this one here, is called the front loop. This one here is called the back loop. So for this pattern, for a lot of it, we're working in the back loop right here. However, for this wheat stitch, we're going to go under both of these loops. Okay, both of these loops. So I'm going to skip the first stitch out and go into the next one with a single crochet. Under both loops, single crochet. Now what we need to do is we're going to pick up this stitch that we skipped right here. See him chilling right there? We're going to go into that space right in here with a puff stitch. Yarn over, put my hook all the way through my work, grab up a loop, pull this up nice and tall, guys. You need this to be the same height as your other stitches. And we're going to hold this. We're going to repeat that. Yarn over, again, right back down into that same space. We need to grab another loop and pull that up. So now we have one here. This was our starting loop. And we've added another 4. So we have a total of 5 stitches. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through 4. That leaves us with 2. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that is what completes our wheat stitch. And as you do this, because we're skipping a stitch, what happens is it forces that stitch to kind of lay over on its side and gives it that angled look that we're looking for. And when you do this stitch, it takes 2 rows of this. Okay, so we're going to do this row right here. We're doing is basically like how you see this green right here. Then we're going to turn our work and we'll come back and do this second row. So here we go. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. This is the stitch that we skipped right here. We're going to go into that space. Okay, yarn over all the way through, grab up a loop, pull this up nice and tall. One more time, yarn over, right back down in. This is a modified puff stitch, guys. We have a total of 5 loops now on top. We're going to yarn over, pull through these first 4. You're going to leave this one behind. Yarn over, pull through. Now we're left with 2 and yarn over and pull through the last 2. We're going to skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now, once again, here's that stitch that I skipped. See them there chilling? Yarn over, through that space, all the way through. Pull up nice and tall, holding. One more time, yarn over, right back down through, grab up that loop. Now we're back to 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this one through the first 4 loops. We're left with 2, yarn over, pull through those last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Here's that one we skipped, yarn over, put our modified puff stitch in there, pull up nice and tall, holding. One more time, back down in, grab up that loop. Now we're back to 5. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. I bet there's lots of people making this pattern artfully. Are you making a pumpkin, or are you doing a hat or a blanket? What are you making with the wheat stitch? I'm curious. How many people are making a pumpkin or a beanie or something this week with the wheat stitch? I know it's all a rage right now because it's, to me, the wheat stitch feels like fall, right? Doesn't it just look like so pretty? Really like it. I love the texture on it. Such a nice stitch. So much fun. Candy Joe, welcome in. Making a pumpkin. All right, Trudy. Oh, you're crocheting with me. Nice. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Beanie, ordering the puff. Nice, Jody. Corey, or excuse me, Carrie, welcome in. Nice to have you here this morning. Just Stitch Jess. It's really pretty, and the colors as well. These colors are nice. This yarn I'm using today, guys, is I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using the colorway Autumn Stripe is what I have on my hook right now, and the orange color is Burnt Pumpkin. Burnt pumpkin. Now, this week is not the sale week at Hobby Lobby, so wait until the new sale starts next week before you order yarn. If you don't have these, there's no need to pay the higher price if you can help it. Sabrina says, I've been using the wheat stitch for about a year now, and I love it. I've been making it since Saturday. I just learned Saturday, and I'm very excited about it, which is why we've been doing wheat stitch all week. I really thought it was going to be much harder than it is. I actually kind of picked up on it rather quickly. Mary says, I wanted to make a pumpkin and a beanie. Thank you for the tutorial. So helpful. Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. Let's see. I want to make a pumpkin, but I get confused. Well, Brianna K has a great tutorial. I have made a beanie with this stitch. I've made 3 beanies since Saturday. And Missy, I'm also making an ear warmer. I'm going to make some scarves too. So probably next week we'll probably do a scarf. But here's my little ear warmer that I'm making with the wheat stitch. Different colored yarn. This is, I love, excuse me, Lion Brand Scarfy yarn for this one. And it's not finished yet. It's still in the works, but there's my different colored wheat stitch. I've done a number. There's some videos on my TikTok right now. So anyhow, I'll get that finished up here. I was using up some scrap yarn that I had. And the chain I made, Jody Lynn, I did 60 for my chain. I did 60 for that one. So lots of possibilities with the wheat stitch. Raquel said, I made an Easter basket for my nephew with the wheat stitch earlier this year. Oh, a Brianna K pattern. Nice, nice. Yeah, I really like Brianna K. She's been on my favorites list for a long time. I just have not gotten around to making the wheat stitch. I had watched her beanie pattern. Gosh, I can't tell you how many times I watched it. When I'm at work, I just put it on and let it run there next to me. And it's, just something that I enjoy watching her. She has a nice voice as she's explaining things, and I just put her on kind of softly. And it's one of those things I just had not gotten around to it. I mean, let's face it, guys, there are so many different patterns. I could crochet the entire rest of my life and not be able to learn every single stitch. There's just so many possibilities. But I do love this wheat stitch. I think it's beautiful. I'll have to see if she has a baby blanket version. Well, Vicky, I think it's in multiples of two. So even if she doesn't have one, Vicky, you have enough skills. I know your skill set. You definitely could make a baby blanket, even if she doesn't have a tutorial. It's increments of two plus one. Okay, so just make sure you have an even number and then add one for your turning chain and you're golden. So get your tape measure out, measure as much as you want. And I think it would work totally fine with that. Some people also will put more of the single crochet rows in between. For our pumpkin, we're doing two single crochets, but I have seen it where people do four of the single crochets in between the wheat stitch, and that looks really nice too. I like that. I like that look of that. Baby girl, this is called the wheat stitch. One of her patterns has a chart for several sizes. Nice, nice. And she does have a blanket tutorial. If you want to make a blanket with the wheat stitch, she has that tutorial as well. So be sure and check out Brianna K. I really think you will not be disappointed. Okay, so here we are to the very end. I'm going to chain one. We're going to turn our work. We've done half of our wheat stitch now. We need to finish out the other side here. So the colors that I'm using, Mandy, the variegated that I'm using right here is I love this yarn in autumn stripe. And the orange color that I'm using is burnt pumpkin, also in I love this yarn. So they're really pretty yarns. Now, again, this is not sale week for um, I love this yarn, Hobby Lobby. So wait till next week if you don't want to get these colors. The other yarn that looks really great with this, guys, with the pumpkin, is cinnamon cedar. If you have any cinnamon cedar on your shelf, you could use that as well. It looks nice for fall pumpkins as well. Okay, it gives it a little different look, but it is really, really pretty. This is a free pattern. You can watch the YouTube tutorial by Brianna K. I think she also has the free pattern on her website. Now, if you want the ad free pattern, then you can get that on her Etsy. Okay, so it is a free pattern, guys. It's on her YouTube channel, Brianna, Briana K. You can watch the tutorial and it's free. And also on her website, she has a free, but it does have ads. So entirely up to you. You do not have to get an Etsy pattern for this. I want to buy more yarn, but I'm on a yarn buying ban. Well, I understand that, Jess. I am obsessed with yarn, as you guys know, and it's quite a little hobby for me. I do yarn collecting as much as I do crocheting. They're both equally addicting. So, uh, delivered my wheelchair blanket stash and starting beanies and scarves for shelters friends. Nice, Vicky. Very nice. I want to get I have several boxes of stuff that's I need to just get boxed up and get labeled and get shipped off. My sister-in-law was going to help me, but they ended up getting a VRBO down there on the river, on the Tennessee River. So we're going to see her tonight. And I have one of those frozen lasagnas, only the best for my sister. I'm going to get out the frozen lasagna, and that's what we're going to have for dinner. I am a yarn under gal. Lorena, very good eye, my friend. A lot of people don't pick up on that. When I first learned to crochet, there wasn't internet, and you learned from, family. My mom is here on the live, Mama Wheeler. I learned from her and my grandma. And, it wasn't until I started crocheting on the live a year ago that somebody said, "How come you do a yarn under?" And I was like, I don't know. I never thought about it. And so then what I had to do is I had to actually study my stitches. And I absolutely do a yarn under. And I've been doing it this way for 40 years. And you know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say. So I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to even try. I'm happy with doing my yarn under, and it's just the way that I do it. So I would eat frozen lasagna just to have a sister, right? Yeah, this is my sister-in-law that lives in Florida that's here visiting. So I'm excited to see her. I haven't seen her all week. She's been here hanging out and they've been paddle boarding down on the river and everything. And so anyhow, we're gonna see her finally tonight. So I'm excited. This is my NICU nurse sister-in-law. And she's supposed to bring me the dimensions for the isolettes. So here we are to the last stitch, guys. I have been carrying this yarn. So what this means is as I'm alternating between these colors, okay, I'm doing the orange and the brown variegated, all right? When I get to the end, I am not snipping off my yarn because I don't want a bunch of tails to weave in. So when I finished the orange color here, I put in a stitch marker to hold this yarn ready for me to use when I am ready for it for the next round. So as I'm doing my last stitch here, I'm going to go under both loops here of this final stitch, and I'm going to bring up a loop. Now, normally I would yarn over and I would pull through and do our single crochet. However, we're going to do a little crochet magic here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change colors of yarn midstream. I'm going to pop out my stitch marker and we're going to slide this orange color, the burnt pumpkin, right onto our crochet hook. So now instead of 2 yarns on our hook, we have 3 yarns. Okay, we've added the orange. I put both colors on my working hand here, and I'm going to yarn over with both of them and pull through all 3 of those loops. So now you can see I've got both working yarns on my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over again with both and pull through to make a chain. Now, we have finished our wheat stitch here, and we need to switch back to this orange color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this green yarn, the variegated, and I'm going to put a stitch marker here into my green. This green is going to sit here chilling until I'm ready for it when we come back around. So I'm going to drop the green tail, pick up my orange tail, and work with only my orange on my hook now. I'm going to turn my work. And now we're going to work this single crochet row all the way down like we did on the others. So once again, this chain of 1 does not count as a stitch. You're going to ignore that. Into the first stitch, we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop. And we're going to work that for the next 3 stitches as well. So a total of 4 single crochets into the back loop. Okay. When you work in the back loop, it's giving it that line of texture. Now, here we are. We're to the wheat stitches here. See the wheat stitches? Anytime there's a wheat stitch, there is 2 stitches. See them there? We're going to work a single crochet into each and every one of these. So mentally in my mind, as I am counting these down, I'm making sure I'm doing 2. And I'm going to work under both loops and just do a row of single crochet. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Anyhow, I do that in my mind in the background. All right. And I'm going to work that all the way down and just do our row of single crochets. Cyberfox asked a great question. What does yarn under? I have crocheted for 20 years and never heard of this term. So here is the demonstration of yarn under versus yarn over. I have my yarn on my hook here. I go under both loops and I am supposed to yarn over. Do you see how this yarn is sitting on top of my hook? And you pull up a loop and then you yarn over. Once again, this yarn is sitting on top of my hook and you pull through your crochet stitch. That is a yarn over. Okay, here it is one more time, all the way through your work. Your yarn sits on top of your hook. You pull that through for your single crochet. Yarn over. Again, the yarn is on top of my hook. Pull through. Okay, that is a yarn over. What I do is a yarn over under. See how these stitches right here look different than these? See how these have the space in them? These are yarn overs, these are yarn unders. So the way that I do a yarn under is I go through and I pull it through like this. Now, if we dissect the anatomy of this and I turn my hook, the yarn is coming underneath my hook. I pull through, then I yarn over. Again, the yarn is on top of my hook and I pull through. So once again, yarn under, pull through. If I flip that up, you guys can see that is coming underneath my hook. And then I yarn over and pull through both. So these again are the yarn unders. These are the yarn overs. And it ends up having this little like V look to it. Amigurumi folks who do a lot of amigurumis will utilize yarn under as I do my crocheting. And the reason why is because it makes a tighter stitch. So you can see it just looks different. Here's the thing, guys. Be a crochet rebel. It does not matter if you do a yarn over or a yarn under. The key thing is you have to be consistent. You will see in my work, I never do half yarn overs and half yarn unders. That's a no-go. That's a no-fly zone, all right? I always do yarn unders, and I'm very consistent with my work. So if you're gonna do yarn unders, great, do yarn unders. If you're gonna do yarn overs, great, do yarn overs, but don't mix and match. So, when people started asking me about my crocheting, I could see I was going through like this, and people who've been crocheting a long time know, that's the yarn under. But as I was learning, it was just faster for me to like reach through and grab it, right? And so that's how come I do it. Your stitches are always so crisp, and this is why. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I really don't know. All I know is I've been doing it this way for a long, long time, and I never thought about it until I started crocheting on TikTok, and everybody started asking me. But there you can see my stitches. I definitely do a yarn under, and that's how they look. Okay. But there's no right or wrong in crochet, friends. That's my point. There's no right or wrong. If you do a yarn under or a yarn over, either way is fine. Just make sure you do it consistently. That's the key there. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm almost running out of time. I've got to go to work a little bit early, guys. Today, I have a lot of emails piled up with orders that I've got to place. So I'm gonna do this last um, row here, and then I'm going to be signing off. Again, if you missed how to make this pumpkin, guys, and clearly I'm not finished with it, I will show you my pumpkin trio though before we hop off. And that way you can see what I'm working on completely. I'll move the camera and whatnot. But we're going to work this last row of orange, and then we'll be signing off so that I can go to work. So when I work this very second row of the orange stitch, the single crochets, I'm doing it in the back loop only. Can you show yarn over? Absolutely. So what I do is I go through, I turn my hook so that it's facing up. See how this yarn is over the top of my hook? That is a yarn over. I pull that through and then go through like that. So once again, twist your hook up. This way the yarn is sitting on top of my hook. See how it comes across the top? That is a yarn over. Versus what I do is a yarn under. I just grab it like this. I just grab it and pull it through, and it looks different. You can't see it as much on this because I'm doing a back loop, but it looks very different um, as you're working it. So hopefully that helps. Next week, we're going to have a lot of stuff on deck, guys. We're going to work some more on the Hugs and Kisses blanket that I'm working on. Not the Hugs and Kisses, the Study of Snow in the rectangle. We're definitely going to be doing that one. We're probably going to work on some more beanies with the wheat stitch. I need to make another pumpkin. So we'll probably work on another pumpkin next week. I think that is what we're going to have on deck. So if you missed the pumpkin demonstration today, this is a free pattern by Briana K on YouTube. Briana K. You can watch that. I am live this morning both on TikTok and on YouTube. So be sure and go over to my YouTube. My handle is Wheeler 8 Acres and hit that subscribe button over there on YouTube. You can rewatch all of the things that we do every week on the lives. As you look at my bio, you will see a category that says shorts. There is a category that says videos, and there's a category that says live. Whenever we're live on TikTok, we're live on YouTube as well, and you can go back and rewatch how we're doing these projects. Okay, so be sure and check that out. I look forward to next week. Um, we are almost at 50,000 taps, y'all. Thank you all so much for all of the taps this week, all of the love and support, guys. I really appreciate everything you guys do for me. I hope you've had a fun week with me here. Again, if you're all new to the channel, welcome to all the new followers. I'm so glad to have each and every one of you here. My name is April, and I am a hobby crocheter. I will be back on next Tuesday at 7:30 Central Change. Yes, Anna, I'm carrying my yarn. I'm carrying my yarn up. Hang on, I'll rewind it for you. It's like magic. It's like magic, I'll tell you. Okay, so let's pull this back out. I got to pull it carefully here. So when I finish with I'm carrying the yarn up the side of my project, okay? And this is how I carry it, okay? The reason I'm carrying it is because I'm changing colors here. I'm using the orange and I'm using the variegated. Traditionally, what people will do is they will cut off their yarn when they're done with the variegated color, and then they'll tie on the orange and resume. And what that does is it leaves you a bunch of tails. So every time you finish the variegated yarn, you're going to have two tails. Every time you finish the orange yarn, you're going to have two tails. At the end, you're going to have a whole spaghetti nest of tails to weave in over here. And I don't like to weave that in. So what I do is I do what's called carrying my yarn. So when I finished with the variegated here of the row below, I put a stitch marker in there to secure this tail, this loop, so that I could reuse this as I get ready to change this color. So as I'm finishing my orange color, I'm on my very last stitch here. I go under both loops and I grab up a loop. Now, normally you would finish this with a single crochet. At this point, I don't. What I do is I pop out my stitch marker of the color I want to change to, and I put that color on my hook, and I get that in kind of in line there. Okay, so now we've got 3 loops on our hook. Then what I do is I yarn over with both the colors and I finish that single crochet stitch. Okay, so there's the stitch I just finished. See it there? Now I still have both colors on my hook. So I'm going to be changing yarn now. We're done with the orange. I need to change back to the color we're doing with the wheat stitch. Okay, in that case, it's the green color. So I'm going to chain 1 because that's what I always do. And I'm going to drop the burnt orange color and I put a stitch marker in him. For now, I'm done with the orange color. This orange is just going to hang out here until I come back around a couple more times, and then I'll be ready to use the orange. Okay. So now what I would do is pick up my variegated yarn. I've got my variegated on my hook. Here's my working yarn. I'm going to turn my work. Again, ignore the stitch marker and the orange tail. This chain of 1 that I made right here does not count as a stitch. So I'm going to go into the first stitch with my single crochet in the back loop, and I'm going to work 4 of those stitches across. And then I'm ready to resume the wheat stitch. So I'm going to pause here, guys, because I have to go to work. But Anna, I hope that helps with how I carry my yarn. You can also rewatch that over on my YouTube, friends. So check that out. We're going to be doing more of this next week. I know I'm going to do another pumpkin. I don't know what day that's going to be yet, but stick around next week. Right now is your last chance. If you have not hit that follow button, be sure and do that. You'll want to find our fabulous little friend group here again. But thank you all so much for a wonderful week. I appreciate all of the support and love. Thank you for all the gifts, all of our subscribers, all of the taps. We're at 52,000. Y'all have made it another fabulous week. I hope you've had fun. Enjoy your weekend. If you're getting fall weather in your area, get outside and enjoy that. It's just beautiful right now. So have a great day, everybody. Friday Eve, we're almost there. Bye for now.